Welcome back to the Smugsy Show. I'm Smugsy, your host. Every Wednesday we meet here to talk about important things and important people, except last Wednesday, and maybe even the Wednesday before. It's a little bit of a blur because I was smothered, kidnapped by dicks on the Cape. Yeah, you've heard of sharks on the Cape, ticks on the Cape. Dicks on the Cape are even worse, deadly, but I lived to tell the story, and I will tell you the story. But first, a word from our sponsor, Smug Ciggies, sleek and elegant joint ciggies made with organic cannabis rolled in all-natural, locally sourced paper. Look for Smug Ciggies in the pretty indigo and marigold pack. Okay, it's been 2 months since the Smugsy Show dropped Barstool for Zelensky. We joined the war effort and picked, as a job, something we thought would be easy, look good, on a resume, build refugee housing in suburban New England. Yeah. We picked refugee housing in the suburbs, not knowing that there was a militant faction of dicks in Camp Betty where we were sent. These dicks, it's an acronym. It stands for dick, I think, and they're part of the bigger group. You read about them all the time. The enemies of refugee housing in the suburbs, the Urhits. So the dicks are kind of the extreme Urhits, and so, you know, I'm in this battle for refugee housing in the suburbs against the dicks, and I was smothered because these dicks are odious, okay? The gas bags. I was fumigated by dicks, okay? They're spitting. The dicks kidnapped me, took me to a dark place in my mind, sucked the sense of humor right out of me. That's why I couldn't do the show. Sucked the sense of humor right out of me. It was almost as comedy had died. No ticks on the campaign trail, just dicks. And, the dicks, they're the Russians. The Smugsy Show, we're like the Ukrainians. I'm sort of like Zelensky in the fight for refugee housing, and I was taken to a very dark place, stunned into silence, okay? Silenced by the dicks, just their sheer stupidity. I couldn't speak, I couldn't laugh, I had a hard time sleeping, thinking about all these dicks. I was just turned off to the Smugsy Show. And then, thankfully, magically, a really big dick just turned me on, and we're back here on the show. And how that really big dick pushed my on button and made me want to put on the smuglet and be with you here today is he said I was smug. Here's this really big dick talking to me about refugee housing in Cape Betty, and he blew a gasket. This big dick blew a gasket about refugee housing, and he said, "You're smug." And I was like, "You're right." And here we are, back. Smugsy's been turned back on fighting a big dick in Cape Betty, and it feels good to be back. It feels good. Smug means self-satisfied, and nothing wrong with that, really, if you think about it. So this show will just be the beginning of what I think is going to be a very, very interesting story about the dicks on the Cape. And we'll call it the case of the stolen signs. Just imagine in the fight for refugee housing, signs that say imagine refugee housing. And just imagine how small a dick would be to steal refugee housing signs in suburban America, in affluent suburban America. Cape Betty. So imagine how small a person is who steals refugee housing signs, and then imagine how small the Nimbus 2000 of security cameras are. Touche, douchebag. Yeah. This dick stole the signs. Little did he know. The dick was on tape. Yeah. So you've heard sex tapes. This is worse. A dick on tape stealing a sign for refugee housing. And, his wife is going to say it's my fault. My audacity provoked him. And this is what I say to you there, wife. I know who you are. And it's not my fault. It was you who provoked me. You, lady, in your brown, dumpy, corduroy smock, fat calves, running shoes, no socks, gray mop, looked like it had been cut with garden shears. Came up to me, said you were so disappointed in me fighting for refugee housing. I'm disappointed in you for being so fat and ugly. Yeah, the gloves are off. The kid gloves are off when it comes to fighting for refugee housing for kids in Cape Betty. And the tape, well, we'll see which dick it is. But here's a little preview. Dick wasn't acting alone. So next week, who's with Dick on the tape in Cape Betty? Stay tuned. And you can find all your favorite Smugsy content at syndicatemedia.net. Follow me on Twitter at SmugsyGirl. It's good to be back. Thanks to that big dick for turning me on. And I'll see you next week.